And we're live. Right on time tonight. Unfinished Project is here, as is Wendy English, Dean Stevenson. Oh boy, we've already got a couple of countries represented. My Aunt Nancy's here early. Twisted Mopar Dennis and Lars are here. The One-Eyed Cat said it's been a long week. They just got home from Cleveland, presumably from Uncle Sonny's services. Friendly reminder here, pinned at the top of the chat, if you are not yet registered for the 5th annual AHRA No Name Nationals. Guys, it is 40 days, 3 hours, 58 minutes away. You've got to know by now if you're coming. So you can register right there. Racer Ray, Tim72 Demon, Junkyard D, Lumpy is here. Colleen reminded me that the rain was headed my way, and she wasn't kidding. Fortunately, I was inside at work the whole time and didn't get wet. It worked out just perfectly for me to not get drowned out there. Mohawk is here. Left turn dodge. Kerosene Cucumbers, Clayton's Toolbox. We've got Canada. We've got the United States, New Zealand, all here. Pure Pontiac Garage, Bigfoot Mark, Thumper, 6th Street Garage, Matthew, William is here, Charger 383 Mopar, Big James, what's up NNM fam? Big James, ooh, top of the Triple Crown Trophy this year. Levi's Backyard Performance. Landon says aloha. Hello, sir. Caught up. Yeah, Cope says nice sun show. So for those of you who missed it when I was doing show and tell with this, I think 2 weeks ago, little oopsie happened setting this one up for the lightning operation, as you can see. And so his mind might have gone to this is now scrapped. My mind went to, oh, no, it's not. And then he had the great idea to send it off for plating. And I think it's awesome. So this is going to be a great trophy. All you have to do to win it is win Triple Crown 2026. Yeah, isn't that cool? Gen X Empty Nesters, howdy. Thank you for coming by. William just bought the tickets and drum for my GoPro giveaway. William, if you want to drop any details on the giveaway in the chat, feel free to do so. Danny Boyd missed 3 minutes. It'll work out. It'll be okay. Cop Car Steve, I'll check that. I'll check and make sure. I'll check. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Dan the IT guy, week and a half, no AC to some AC to waiting for new AC. I have not had air conditioning 2 years of my whole life. I don't miss it. I don't like air conditioning. It feels weird too. No, it just feels cold all the time. It's not my thing. Andrew Nelson says, good evening from Team Nivlac 57. Yes, indeed. Levi says, Brooke drove the STM for the first time today, getting a good alignment, time to test. Good, time to test, and you still have over a month to go. Good deal. William's going to put out a short in a couple days with all the details. So William is doing a GoPro giveaway at the No Name Nationals. Be on the lookout on his channel. He's going to put out a short. William, if you don't mind, let me know when that short drops, and I'll share it. One-Eyed Cat says, we're here again. Yes, we are. Every Friday, this just winds up happening, doesn't it? Old McDonald has a car. Mostly Mopar. Good evening to y'all. All is good in Middle Georgia. Thank you for coming by. We appreciate it. Danny Boyd, now that I'm almost not overweight, I rarely use my AC at home. Still use it in the car, though. Boy, that term, I'm telling you, the I think in general, the United States doesn't even know, have any realistic definitions for what overweight and obesity and normal weight are. People here just don't have any idea. And even normal, what is normal? I mean, you could realign normal to reflect what people have. Just crazy. That's a whole other topic. Thumper says he'll probably test Ace Ventura this weekend. Been working on other stuff too. How many miles is it, Don? One way. Cousin Cletus says, yo, cousins. Howdy, sir. Danny Boyd, 5'8" and 144 pounds. Upper says that Tanner's going to be scared when he sees what Ace can do. Maybe. Levi said it doesn't take much to be obese. I'm considered obese according to, oh, yeah. According to like the BMI calculator, I'm like right at the border of obese and overweight. I mean, it's people don't have any idea what those definitions are. Just it's a lot. But Danny Boyd said, I went through life feeling sorry for guys who weigh less than 152. I haven't weighed 150 since I was probably 10 years old. Don says 312 all interstates at the last time. Oh, that's not a bad drive. That's an easy drive, man. What is that, 5 hours? Old McDonald said 144. That's just one of my legs. Cousin Cletus says, I've been working long hours all week to get my build ready for No Name Nationals. Took a week off of work. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's getting serious time. 40 days. And it's been like 40 days of rain, too. Levi said a lot of call-out races going around this year. I'm excited to see them all. Me, too. That's what the first No Name Nationals was built on. Yeah, they have road construction going on. And no, I didn't. I've had the road is being repaved right in front of my neighborhood. I have to navigate that all the time. Although I haven't been here in a few days. Cletus says, hopefully it'll cool down. It's so hot. Well, sure it will, because winter will be here before you know it. I don't complain about summer because winter gets here and stays around plenty long enough. Construction going on everywhere. Well, okay, good. Grudge races rule. They're neat. Obese by BMI. Yeah, I know. That whole thing is, I get it. I get it. Back many years ago when I was in my 20s and in the gym at Virginia Tech, one of the guys who was in the, I don't know what you call it, okay, the military guys, but one of the guys who was in the management at the Corps said that if we went by that, I would flunk that. But he said if they took a tape to me, he said I'd pass. I was borderline for that back then, but he said that's the reality of it. He said these students in the gym would all flunk if you just used the old height weight charts. He said now they have certain measurements they take, you know, with your arms and your neck and chest and everything. And he says most of them that you know just looking at them will pass, no problem. Cousin Cletus, I need a trophy for coolest car. Mine will not be real fast, but will look very cool. Well, we have people's choice. The one-eyed cat says my rule is get to put the first burnout on a fresh piece of road. No, they just finished this out here. Huh. Cousin Cletus, I had abs in the Army and still had to tape. height and weight chart was young. Yeah, right. Yeah. Those are, I even had, believe it or not, 2004, 5, 6, 7, right in there. You could see the top two abs. I'm like, I couldn't believe that. And you can see the veins in my biceps, the very bottom, just barely, just lean enough for that. Unfortunately, I didn't keep going that way with the other. Haven't seen either since. And I'm even within 5 pounds of the same weight now as them. That's the wild part. Thumper's probably putting the bench seats back in, Ace, too. I like bench seats. I mean, I've gotten so used to buckets, though. I mean, really am more comfortable in bucket seat. Benches just look cool. Danny Boy got up to 220, 225 in his 20s. Yeah. Andrew says, 41 days. We need to figure out what to bring to the dance after this weekend. Streetcar takeover this weekend. Any favorite coming to the top for the big dance? I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't mind seeing that green car show up. Thing looks wicked. But I will tell you, I'm just be really happy to see my friends Nelson's in Sykeston again. Because they have had things happen the last 2 years, and I will be super happy just to see them come back. So no matter what you're doing. You want to bracket race in your dailies, it's fine. Whatever you want to do, just be glad to see you there. Hope you come out and have a good time, have some fun. We'll all be glad to see you. Dan, the IT guy, a whole lot of people up in here. Yeah, pretty good crowd. Friday night, probably statistically, is the worst night of the week for live streaming. So I picked the worst day. Any other day is better than Friday night. And so people can't really complain that I like take this top spot because I don't. I would have a lot more viewers if I moved this to Thursday. I have no doubt at all, because probably twice over the years I have, just because of some unavoidable thing. And even on a different night when I'm never on, I still have more viewers. I think if I were to do this regularly on Thursday, I'd probably have a lot more viewership. But I'm good with this. This is fine. This works. I'm just happy to see y'all. Thumper says they would tape him. Yeah. Oh, man. Nadertron's not coming this year. He's going to miss a good time. Yes, he will. Well, if he changes his mind, we left the light on for him. Engine Light Garage. Hello for him, Mommy Z. Mommy Z, by the way, is Mommy's Garage, but I see the Z. Is #1, first place in the No Name 500 right now. She's got just over 100 subscribers yet to get. Don't know where they're coming from, but she's got just over 100 subs to go and is in first place in the No Name 500. Clayton says, I'm thinking of flying down for the No Name Nationals. I can't bring my car this year. If I rented a car or SUV, could I just camp on site? Sure, absolutely. A lot of people do. Place for showers. Yes, we got a little shower house right there. Most people camp. I would say it's a little more than 50% camp. It's probably 50-50. I'll call it 50-50. But it's a healthy amount of campers there. Yep, you got shower houses there. And a lot of people, I will tell you, a lot of people, the first time they come, they'll make lodging arrangements, and they all say right after that, they say, nope, we're camping next year. That's what they say. Because they said, this is too much fun. We're going to camp next year. So, yeah. Fly down. You're 2 hours from Memphis and 2 hours from St. Louis. Either way, most people suggest flying into St. Louis. It's probably slightly less sketchy than Memphis, only slightly. But yeah, come on down. We'd love to meet you in person. Yeah, I've met Thumper in person. That's a good description. Thumper's quite tankish. I will miss Thursday. Friday works best for. I don't really even know where Friday necessarily came from. I don't even remember what the origin of Friday was. I think it was because back when I originally had some guests, a truck tire blew out on the interstate. I think that Friday just worked better for some guests and just kind of wound up staying there. But statistically, it's the worst night of the week, which is fine. Old McDonald, I was under the dart yesterday replacing the starter cable and bummed out to find my headers are shot. I don't know, some tubes totally rusted away at the collectors. Be glad that you had headers that lasted long enough to rust away. I've usually seen them get flattened out and ruined that way before they rust away. Now you got the excuse to put some good TTI headers on there, coated. Oh, yeah, I'm just saying that Thursday statistically is a much better night. You guys got what I think is a lot better night. Did you like Garage Chris says camping is super fun at No Name Nationals? Yeah, I would agree with that. Cletus is Airbnb in this time. Sleeping in there. Hey, whatever he wants to do. Colleen puts up the link to Mommy's Garage right here, running first in the No Name 500. She wants to make it. Junkyard D. Registered by labor. Yeah. I got your number. I haven't assigned numbers yet. So once Labor Day comes and goes, I start assigning car numbers. But then there's who shows up and who doesn't. And so I never actually issue numbers until we're on site. As you can imagine, there's a whole lot more people tell you they're coming than actually do. Cletus says Little Rock's about 4 hours to Billary Airport. Well, I mean, you're a lot closer to St. Louis than Little Rock, and closer to Memphis, too. And then Bigfoot's saying fly into Evansville, Indiana. Well, I'm sure that's a lot less sketchy. 3.5 hour drive to Sykeston. So there's you some options. Engine Light Garage, fingers crossed. I'll be putting the transmission in the Ranger this weekend so I can have something to run. I understand. Most of the Mopar are still undecided on lodging or camping. My back doesn't like tent camping anymore. I understand. I'll tell you, though, the hot ticket, I've done very little of it, but tent camping with an air mattress. It's nice. I even camped for the third annual in the my U-Haul tag trailer that I brought all the stuff with. The van's radiator, the van had this cheap Chinese aftermarket plastic radiator in it that decided the top tank just warped and blew off the core. And a week before No Name Nationals, I said, well, this is great. I said, you know what? I'm not going to thrash and get this fixed and source the radiator and all that stuff. I actually looked around. I said, no. I'll just take the Assault CRV. So I did. I rented a little U-Haul tag trailer, so I had room for all the stuff. And that worked out great. And then once I got it all cleaned out, I just slept in the back of the trailer. Sleeping 6 nights in a U-Haul, little small enclosed, it wasn't bad at all. You walk around as much on those grounds as I do during the event, and you don't have any problem going to sleep. Thumper says, I sleep in my truck whenever I travel. It's no big thing at No Name Nationals. Yeah, a lot of people do. I describe it looking like Jonestown the morning after, just people passed out, sleeping everywhere. Left turn Dodge. That's why I booked my hotel before I had my 500. Yeah, I do whatever you like. I guess camping would make the packing and unpacking every day a non-issue. Well, I will tell you, obviously do what you want to do, whatever you feel comfortable with. I've never heard of anything getting stolen to No Name Nationals. Nothing. I mean, and people leave a lot. I leave a lot of stuff out. We've just never had a problem with it. Not to say we never will, not to say we couldn't, not to say you should do whatever you're not comfortable with, but we've never had a problem with stuff getting stolen there. Never. In fact, when I go out and make my rounds, I come back, not only is nothing missing, sometimes I'll find stuff there people will leave for me, you know, like channel stickers and stuff like that. And a lot of times people will say, like, I'll buy parts throughout the year or whatever, and they'll bring them and drop them off at my pit. So, you know, we've just never had a problem with theft there. If you think about it, since there's so much camping and so many people there, and we all know who each other are because we all go through this 500 fraternity, right? We know who you are before you show up. You know who we are before you show up. It just makes those problems so much better. We don't have problems like that there. And hopefully we won't this year either. Turbo Tom says, hi from Ohio, doing time and chaining guides on a 2012 Avenger with 262,000 miles tomorrow. Yikes. Danny Boyd says it took 4 tries to get a quarter window glued in on his truck without leaking. You're gluing a quarter window in? Is that not a... If it's on your truck, isn't that like a vent window? Didn't get a number last year because I slid in late Friday night. Okay. We'll set it. We'll get you squared away. We'll get you squared away. It's not a problem. Mexican Spec is here. Howdy. So what are we lacking now? We need Australia to get the 5 countries that are normally represented in here. Kim fixes things. Says hello. Howdy, Kim. Left Turn Dodge says next weekend I'll be camping in an enclosed trailer. We've had people camp on their open trailers, and that works. And it actually is pretty cool to set up a tent on the open trailer. Miss Cat G. There we go. Miss Cat G, are you coming from Australia? Junkyard D, what are monkey bike races looking like this year? Can we do a heads up 330? We can do all kinds of things. I want to have the monkey bikers on here. So we're having, just to let you know, next Friday, a week from tonight, we're going to be having Deke on to talk tech. And then 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to have our bracket champions on. We're going to have Just Mopar Joe, T's Good Time Garage, and Little Possum. On the panel are bracket champions 2 weeks from tonight. And so we'll be having some other class-oriented live streams as we approach the No Name Nationals, because we don't have many Fridays left. Mohawk says, air mattresses on my trailer with a canopy over me, up off the ground and able to see all around, no sneaking up on me. Well, there you go. Wendy says we never had anything. We don't. I mean, we haven't. I've had some banners stolen, but I mean, a lot of people think that that's just like big corporate. You can just pilfer them. Well, you need to reuse those. Those things are expensive. No cigarette butts on the ground. Pick them up, and after your dog, yeah. Now, we always leave it cleaner than we find it. But we'll do the logistics live last. We always do. We'll do that the Friday before. Cletus says, I leave everything out. Nothing's ever been stolen. Tools, food, etc. I think people will give you most anything you ask for. No reason to steal. Danny Boyd said it's on his Mustang. Oh, you're doing one of the urethane ones. Yeah. Yep, there we go. We got all 5 countries represented. Now we need a dude from Norway. Or was it Norway the guy came in last week? Cletus camped every year, but wanted to try something different this year. Yeah. I mean, you know, this is cool. Glad you're there. We need someone from Russia and Ukraine to make things even more interesting. Sure. Get Sonny Pazikas in here. Travis has camped on his trailer. Yeah, we've had a few people do that, actually. New Zealand's represented? Yes. Me from Oz. That's right. Dallas says, I camp every year in my Suburban. Yep. Hot Rod Guy Garage Russell says, hey, everyone, the 40-day and few-hour thrash is continuing. It's 40 days, 3 hours, and what do we have here? 33 minutes? And, you know, whatever. You got a little more time on the end of that, but not much. Matter of hours. We're going to do the logistics live the Friday before. I don't know off the top of my head what day that is. It's something 10th of September, whatever that is we're going to do the logistics live. And then we'll talk about all of that stuff. We'll talk about camping. We'll talk about the daily activity and all of that stuff. But we got some cool theme-oriented live streams beginning next Friday. We're going to have Big Denny on to talk tech. And then we're going to have our bracket champions on and more theme live streams and the logistics live. It's getting close, guys, really close. Is there a list for the potluck? Not yet, but we do plan to do the community cookout Saturday night. It was very popular. We'll do that again. I'm from Norway, Dallas says. Nice try. Have you been to Norway, Dallas? Mohawk's got a video on passing tech, just under 14 minutes. If one of the mods would like to pop up the link to Mohawk's tech passing video, please check it out. I will say that I bet you if I had to pick a number one question I get asked about passing tech, it's the wrong question. When do we need a cage? And 90% of the people asking me the question, at what ET do I need a cage, need to be worried about battery hold down, drive shaft loops, long enough studs when they use these aftermarket aluminum wheels, radiator overflow bottle. That's what they need to be concerned about. And if they're asking about the cage, battery disconnect, the batteries in the trunk, we have all these type of things. It didn't have windows to roll up. Yeah, you don't have to have windows. We've had cars go down the track with no glass at all. Dancing Alone with Reynolds, hello. US 191. Whoever calls out left turn dodge has to race him at Benton Speedway also. 2 out of 3, NNN, AHRA call. What about you? Are you coming to No Name Nationals to race left turn dodge? One-Eyed Cat says last year Ron did an Army caught in the pop-up canopy last year. He said he's going back to the tent with the air mattress. Sure. Mostly Mopar said I was doing great on my car until I ordered the wrong converter ring gear. Oh, yikes. Mr. Rodder, 41 days. Guess it's time to get my plan B going. Thought we figured that out 41 days ago. But yeah, it's 40 days, 3 hours, 31 minutes. Left turn dodge is paved or dirt. I'm game either way. Cool. Sounds good. Make content on it. Thumper said he almost lived in Finland. Colleen puts up a link to the tech passing video right here. Dallas said he went to Oslo, Norway twice in 2000. Probably a couple tall, skinny Norsemen with big chins running around over there. Well, there you go. Cletus says, I probably won't even race, just going to show off all my work on the lowrider build. Okay. Left turn dodge said he's raced his asphalt car on dirt a time or two. Cool. Cop Car Steve, he's getting some pizza. Says, peace out. Glad you could come by. Dallas said he's been working on everyone else's stuff. Time to get mine. Well, I appreciate it. Dallas did. We did put a few days in and got the carburetor and intake swapped over on the van, and it runs great. Drove it today. Cutter down, Chris. Cutter down, Chris 303. What's happening? I sure like the look of the tires in that van. It looks like about a 75-ish Chevy van, and TSL's on there, or maybe Gumbos. It looks great. I love that look. Dust Devil Brian is here. Howdy. JB's little shop. Glad you could make it, man. Why am I all dressed up? I just came in the door probably 50 minutes before this live, straight from showing property. So just came straight in and to stream. So I can put on a No Name Nationals t-shirt if that makes it better. Can do that. You're not deplorable, Cousin Cletus? Deplorable. Wendy thinks it's okay. All right. Well, we'll let the chat vote. You in the chat, let me know. Do I keep on the dress shirt, or do I go to a No Name Nationals t-shirt? Looks like a Silvio type of shirt. Yeah. This is the kind of shirt that makes somebody disappear. Deplorables will never live it down comment. Yeah, I don't. Whatever. Do a t-shirt giveaway. We'll give away a t-shirt. Okay, sounds good to me. Let's do it. How are we going to do it, Cousin Cletus? Just keep your shirt on. Oh, yeah. That'll do. We all know my feelings on red. Yeah. Dust Devil Brian is not in the red. Like he's ready for the discotheque. Okay, that's when these collars get just too wide. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people say that it's not dressy to get the button-down collars. You should have tab collars. And I agree with that. The problem is that the button-down collars stay indexed where they're supposed to be, and the tab collars wind up looking like it's 1975. Nah, yeah, there's no tattoos. Although I got some good marks on my shins where I fell through that deck. Lost my spot on the chat. All it takes is one wrong click. A JB shop shirt. I have a nice JB's little shop shirt. Yes, I do. The artwork on it's beautiful. Figured it was a court appearance or shotgun wedding. No, neither on that. I'll show you what I was showing today. I showed a property in Radford. It's a nice little one-bedroom condo that overlooks the New River Distillery right there in the downtown. There's your view. So anyway, I was showing that. But tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be dressed down and semi-homeless looking. I'll be out walking in the morning. I'm going to go here in Christiansburg. We have the New River. It's their Heritage Day. And so they have a pie baking competition. I'm hoping that they let some of us locals judge it. What is it old Uncle Brian said we are if we're in this community or deplorable? I don't even know if that guy's still alive. I know the apartment that he actually lives in was for rent. I don't know if the guy's still living. I kind of think maybe he's not. Long sleeves making me sweat. I've never minded long sleeves. They're fine. I wear both. Andrew Nelson says you look marvelous. You know, it's funny. I had dinner with Andrew Nelson here. What was that? A couple months ago. And I showed up at dinner dressed up, and he said, I didn't know you ever dressed up. And just come to think of it, whenever I had seen him, I hadn't, except at No Name Nationals, I generally wear a staff shirt there. But all right, T-shirt giveaway, trivia question. Do you have a trivia question, Cletus? If you do, you're going to be the judge. If not, I'm going to do it with a number like I always do. You're just missing the suspenders and tie. You know, I don't usually do suspenders because I wear a real belt. You know, the only time I don't wear my real belt is I got some pants that have these ridiculously small loops on them, and you can't put a real belt in them, and you got to wear this flimsy leather bacon belt on them. But you know, I'll do that. I'm thinking you need to live like 57 shirt. I agree. Please bring me an XL to Sykeston. I would be more than happy to buy your latest design. Please bring it to Sykeston. I have, in fact, I've long needed a Nivlac shirt, so thank you. And speaking of shirts, one of these years, Bigfoot Mark is going to do another batch of Jack Pine Savage shirts. He supposedly had one earmarked for me that was moderately messed up, but those shirts are just too freaking cool. So if he does another run, I'd love to have one. And Bigfoot Mark, if you need someone to do them, our own Tony's Hot Rod Garage, Gunslinger Graphics, does awesome work. He does the apparel for the No Name Nationals, and the quality is outstanding. Quality, price, customer service. He is the best. So if you need somebody to do your run of shirts, he's the one I would ask. Danny Boyd says HOA. It's a condo, so yes. Lars does an interior decorator to spice that place up. Lars and I are both fans of The Sopranos. So on occasion, you'll see a reference like that. Cop Car Steve, in 2027, I'll have to get a list of suitable hotels to spend time down there. Where? Where are you going to town homeless looking clothes? I don't know. I'll just wear, I won't look homeless, but I'll wear a clean t-shirt and jeans tomorrow. What I'm thinking tomorrow is I'll probably walk down to the Heritage Festival. It's a little bit more of a hike than Jethro wants to do. So I may park at the church and walk to the festival. Because he doesn't like to do more than a mile at a time. But I think he'd really like to go. So we'll see. Regardless, I've been wanting to go in and do another section of the Huckleberry Trail. Left Turn Dodge said, my neighbor got the dreaded too many unregistered cars letter from the county. Ugh, might have to have some square bodies coming up for sale. Yikes. Dan said, along with Reynolds, says, I'm not sure they let hot rodders live next to distilleries. They've had a problem with the silverware and glasses railing as the guys drive past. My client is not a hot rodder. Mohawk said, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Cool. Danny Boyd says 754. One-Eyed Cat says 11. Still doing the award dinner on Saturday. Yes. Are we still doing fireworks Friday after the burnout competition? Danny Boyd wears a belt with a Waylon Jennings buckle. I believe that. Dancing alone with rentals. I hate when the county comes by. Granted, I have too many cars, but I keep clean and parked over concrete. Nice. Mexican Specs is telling them to register them in Montana or another place. I've had over 100 cars, and they're all registered in Oregon. That's interesting, Mexican Spec. Why don't you make a video on how to do that? Could be helpful. Dizzy's in here. Howdy. Benny Boy says Jethro wants some of that festival food. Oh, I bet he does. He's napping in there right now. He has like 40 cars, plates for about 35 of them. Still doing a rock concert? If you want to, we got a stage right there. All righty. Well, let me know, Dust Devil. If you want help with procurement, our boys in Tennessee can get you anything. So just let me know. I'm going through Tennessee on the way there, too. Dancing Alone with Reynolds says, I got nailed twice for a Virginia trailer tag. 8 days apart. The officer said the permanent trailer tag didn't come up in their system. $869 of tickets. My gosh. Should be up to them to prove the tag's not legitimate. Up to you, not up to you to prove it is. Huh. Mexican Spec was an Oregon dealer at the time. His dealer insurance covered me on all my private cars as well. It was a great deal. Oh, I bet. Cousin Cletus. Now, do you have the answer to this, Cousin Cletus? You better be right, because people will dispute it. Do you think you have the answer to it? Because I'm not exactly sure myself. I'm pretty close. I got some ideas. I know a few people it could be. Most of the no parts is our county doesn't care about unregistered cars. Untaxed buildings are another story. Oh, I bet. Lars said fireworks can be acquired here 365. Exactly. Dancing Alone with Reynolds says my first court is in Virginia next week. Then after that to Pennsylvania to meet another judge. What part of Virginia? Which court? No, I thought you did. I'm my cousin Cletus, but there's a couple of them that are really close, and I'm not sure. I mean, I'm talking within just a few miles, but completely different areas. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think we can use that one because I don't have it exactly. I don't think Mongrels is quite the farthest. I think it's actually somebody in the continental United States from the other coast, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to use that one for that reason. Yeah, Laura says I look like Silvio from The Sopranos. I need the suspenders and tie. Well, there you go. Yeah, I'm wearing a little bit different, more maroonish red. There's Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Tennessee requires no tag on any trailer as long as the vehicle towing it's registered in Tennessee. Don't you think that'd be the easiest? Tennessee's a little simpler on some stuff, more complicated on others, simpler on some things. Yes, Mexican Spec. I know very well he plays in the Springsteen band. If we did Sopranos trivia, I might have a pretty good shot at it. Dean Stevenson's other channel there. It's been a very long week. I thought that would be appropriate to put up my friend's shop truck there with its 158-inch wheelbase, F-150. Forget how long that truck is. It seems like it takes a football field to turn that thing around. Tony's Hot Rod Garage says we have permanent trailer tags here on everything but RVs. Yeah, Virginia has the permanent trailer tags. Dancing with Reynolds says Tennessee's the talk of the town. I know New Yorkers, Floridians, even Connecticut people set their compass on Tennessee, and that is exactly what will ruin Tennessee and make it and ruin it, because that's what happened to my state. Virginia is a mess because of all the carpetbaggers who came here from elsewhere. And the Floridians, the native Floridians, are not who's moving to Tennessee. It's the people who moved there first from further up north. Tennessee needs to tell them we're full. Virginia should have said we're full 30 years ago. Razor said, I just let the weeds grow up so they can't see it and can't complain. I keep everything mowed and trimmed up nice around here. I got some stuff that's not technically kosher, but when you keep it, I pressure wash my stuff that doesn't run, keep the tires up, keep the grass mowed. I try to be the good neighbor that is good to my neighbor. So I don't have any problem here. I just wanted to give a thoughtful reply to that video that RP Dynalo made. He greatly dislikes political talk on people's live streams. So I thought about this a lot, because obviously I get sometimes 1,000 comments per live stream, literally. And he made one about political talk on live streams and all this stuff. So what I said, just so you guys will know, is I don't watch TV anymore, including the news. My TV crapped out in 2015, and I haven't watched television since. After Mom died, I took her TV back that I gave her more than 10 years ago. And with my internet, I'd have catchy comedy. I had these old reruns from the 50s. That's all the TV I've watched in over a decade. So I don't watch any news or anything either, and I don't miss it. But anyway, when I'll visit people's houses and they have that stuff on, I forget just how much some people stay immersed in that. So if somebody brings up a topic that's in the news and it's political, well, okay, I hadn't heard of it. So sometimes I'll think it's interesting. But I can see where it gets to be really wearing on people. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. But I'm not allergic to it. I don't care. I don't find it offensive. I don't let it become the stream, because I just don't want it to, no more than I would want to talk about, handbags, track meets, boats, buried treasure, or whatever else. I mean, we are car guys. We like to talk about cars, but whatever else, I'm not worried about. If it comes up, it comes up. Whatever. You guys are getting all the people leaving Illinois. Maybe. Dancing Along with Reynolds says, around here it's the pesky no good rat bastards. You kind of like your modification there. Low down realtors. You know that type. When they go to sell a house, they call in all the neighbors. Well, yeah, of course we do. Want to get the best price for the seller. We can't make a house. Realtors have no power to make a house worth more than it is. I don't know why anybody thinks that, because if we had that, there would be doctors leaving their profession to become realtors if we had the power to make property worth more. I assure you we don't. Hot Rod Guy Garage Russell, it makes life more peaceful to break away from TV programming. Yes, it does. Cars and barbecue, yes. And being from Canada, do you know what barbecue is? Tony says I have to start doing my lives. So everyone comes into politics. I just don't care. I just don't take the bait. I've seen this stuff going by in the chat, and just, if it's topical, it's topical. I don't really care. It's fine. But I won't let it turn into that. Okay. Cletus, are you in the chat? Make sure you're here. There's a realtor doctor. There's all kinds of realtor doctor jokes, I'm sure. In fact, I've been showing property to my sales manager that I had at Range Real Estate way back in the day, more than 20 years ago. And so I said, that means one of two things. Either I'm a better agent than all the other agents she knows, or the rest of them have all retired and died. And that's probably the latter. Because I was all of 25 years old back then, and the rest of them are probably all retired or died. And that's why she just left with working with me. I actually sent her a link tonight. It says, if you want to come say hi, feel free. Oh boy, I don't know if this is going to be safe, but I'm going to put it on the screen anyway. I'll let y'all read it. This is his realtor doctor joke. If you're listening to it podcast style, sorry you miss out. That's why you got to watch the show. RP Danilo, I think I'm going to be a home inspector on the side. Will you hire me, John? Will you come to the New River Valley to do inspections? That's the first question. Barry Kuda said, I haven't watched TV in probably 15 years and no news propaganda. Yeah, I don't miss it. I just don't. And when I see TV at someone else's house and I look at the television commercials on, and they're horrifying. You'd never see that trash on television, when I watched it. So anyway. Andrew Nelson, what's the general rundown for No Name Nationals? There are one or two brackets. There's several brackets. Well, we have the beginner bracket, which you guys are not eligible for, obviously, but we have the big bracket on the Friday. We want to have a bracket for manual transmissions on Saturday and a 6-cylinder bracket. And no trans brakes or electronics are allowed. I didn't set the rules for that one, but no trans brakes or electronics are allowed for the 6-cylinder bracket. And that will be on the Saturday. Eliminations on the Saturday. Obviously, you can get on the track on the Friday if you like. But the general rundown is that you can show up when you want. We have tech open Thursday morning and tech all day on Thursday. And you can also tech, throughout the event. I mean, somebody shows up Friday night or even Saturday morning because they broke down. We'll still get you teched in, not a problem. But tech opens on Thursday. Most people tech in on Thursdays. We're going to go to Lambert's at the dinner hour. Friday morning, we're going to line up for the group photo, open for test and tune. Then we run the Friday bracket during the day. We try to wrap the Friday bracket by, I believe, at 6 p.m. so that we can have burnout competition at 7 p.m. under the lights. And then Saturday, as we run our eliminations and everything else, including Triple Crown, monkey bike, 6-cylinder bracket, our beginner bracket, we run, and we have call-outs running the whole time, Friday and Saturday. That's our general. And then we do the fireworks after the burnout competition on Friday night. Okay, Dust Devil Garage, how many musicians are we going to have? We need to have a big jam session. Y'all work it out. We've got a stage right there if you want it. I know you guys like to jam at the right there around the concession area, but we have a stage with power. You can set up on it. Perfect place for it. There is a stage right there, right next to the water box. No kidding. Plumbers make good money. And electricians. Heavens, Mopar Scott, I finally made it. Hello, peoples. Howdy, Scott. I'm going to ask our friend Mopar Al, since he's considerably closer, if he will bring his sound equipment again. It's greatly appreciated. RP Danilo said, love to do the No Name Nationals with my 66 satellite pole and my teardrop camper. Sounds good to me. Do it. Do it. I mean, that's a good looking car, man. US 191 says, tired, just back from 3 months chasing Mopar shows in Ohio, Pennsylvania, etc. Cool. Neat. Levi says, Scott, do we have an update? Scott, it's 40 days, 3 hours, 3 minutes. We need to have an update. We got most of your money together, too. Cletus, you hanging around, man? Are you in here? Yeah, I think so, too. All right, Cletus says he's in the chat, so we're going to ask his question. Cletus, go ahead and post it. You got to look for the winners. You find the winner, I'll send them a shirt. Let's do it. Cletus got a trivia question. He's going to look for the winner. When you find it, make sure you scroll back in case 2 people get at the same time. Make sure you know who's first. Lars puts up the link for Scott's GoFundMe. By the way, GoFundMe operates off of tips. They don't take a huge chunk of the money like things like Super Chats do. So Scott is close. We've got him a good chunk of change to help him with his shipping. He's going to finally get to bring his duster to No Name Nationals. All right, here's a trivia question. Cousin Cletus asked. He's going to be the arbiter that gives us the definitive answer and call the winner. What were the 2 GMC versions of the El Camino? Cletus, you're going to need to call the winner. I still don't know how to reply to folks. I'll show you how to reply to folks. If I can do this. See if I can do this. So I'm going to put up, this is a video of Mad Mardigan's music trivia. I watch it every Friday. Shout out to him. It's really cool. I love to do it every Friday. See how many I can get. So there's just a random comment. You see KIYOTAE, whoever that is. If you touch this thing right here, that thing that's next to the thumbs down, it brings up your comment ability. Then you put in your random comment and you hit that red arrow and that lets you reply. We'll let the answers come in for a while. Then Cletus, when you see the winner, I want you to call it. Scroll back as needed just to make sure that nobody did. I think I know who the winner is. Just make sure. What's the balance? I would have to let you know. Hey, what is Lars? Can you give us the balance left on him? He's got a little to go. He's also getting a chunk of change for his 400 too. I just haven't put it in there. He's close. He's not too far off. He's going to have it. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's what I was thinking. So we just wanted to get it called from Cletus. Mexican Spec got it right after I posted the question. Super quick. Right on. Mexican Spec, I have your address. Let me know if you would like what size shirt, what size, and would you like black, gray, or the new mystery color? Your choice. Yeah, it's one of those things. If you know, you know. Yeah, no kidding. Ben Jones, who played Cooter, Dukes of Hazzard, died at the age of 84. That's a shame. He ran Cooter's Luray, which is a couple hours up the road from me, and I've been up there before for an event. XL in gray, I can do it. Hey, Lars, if you don't mind, my good friend Lars, send me a reminder on that so that I get that out to him. Not being a GM guy, I knew Sprint, never heard of Caballero. The reason I knew a Caballero was because I knew a guy who had one. It was silver, and it was an 80s, 80-something-ish. Oh, no, Cousin Cletus, you got to get way more in the weeds to stump this crowd. Our guys know this stuff. I knew when you ask if they come up with it quick. The other thing, too, is that I try to ask things that people can't readily Google. Like, I would do something weird like, what does this weigh in grams? Well, I don't think you can Google that. I don't think you can. I mean, in fact, there's probably only one person who would know, and that's either somebody who has weighed one or Cope. And I'm sure Cope, I'm sure he would not want that number in his head. It would irritate him probably if I told him I weighed this and knew what it weighed. I ask things you can't Google readily. Hot Rod Guy Garage, we're losing the Dukes cast way too fast. Well, I got to tell you, Catherine Bach, John Schneider, Tom Wopat, all still living. I mean, Sorrel Book, James Best gone. I'm telling you. I mean, the youngest member of the cast is John Schneider. He's 65, 66, I believe. Yeah, 66. He's the youngest. Dancing with Reynolds, don't tell anybody, but the General Lee out front is sitting on a Ford Taurus. Hard to imagine they would do such a thing with children around, but it's Virginia. It's on a Ford Crown Vic. They have a Crown Vic General out front of Cooters LeRae. However, he also has a real deal 68 Charger General too. And he puts it out on the, for events. But the one that sits out there all the time is a Crown Vic General. Heavens Mopar Scott says, sorry, things have been quiet on YouTube, but making progress. Been acquiring necessary parts, crossing them off the list. Wife okayed the stall converter. Making trunk lid hinges was a fail. Lift-off pins it is. I prefer lift-off pins anyway. Making trunk lid hinges. Dude, you know how hard that is? Because those things have to swing in an arc. Cousin Cletus likes the Crown Vic swaps. I like it better than destroying a Charger. I know that. They're kind of goofy looking if you look inside of one because of the way the dashboard sits in them. They actually work pretty good. The wheelbase lines up pretty close and everything, but the dashboard itself sits up at this bizarre angle. They look funky inside, like down at the bottom of the A-pillars, but they are a convincing replica from any distance at all. I mean, just driving by on the road from that thing 30 feet away, you have to walk up to know it. Uh-oh, Hot Rod Guy Garage. The haters are coming. Makes their head explode. What are we talking about, Russell? Stovall Farms and Garage. Evening to all. I'm on my way home from work. Hello, Dave. Thank you for dropping by. Here's a link to Stovall's channel. Colleen puts up. Thank you, Miss Colleen. Dan, the IT guy, says Crown Vic with the turbocharged LS is all types of fun. I'd imagine so. Barry Cuda says, I wish they really were Tauruses for the series. Over 280 sacrifice Chargers is quite obscene. It was probably a little more than 300. And Barry Cuda, if you haven't seen it, I did an interview with Tom Sarmento, who was the mechanic for Warner Brothers during the series. We had him on the channel here a few years ago. And he answers a lot of questions about the construction and building of the original General Lees and everything. And it's cool. Levi says it's 904 here, by the way. I like 904. Yes, I do. The GM-headed Cleveland I've been building. Oh, yeah, man. I bet you're a lightning rod for that. Yep. Cletus says, I hope I win the Frankenstein Award. It's not the build I was originally doing, but still is a Frankenstein monster for sure. Cool. Does John Schneider still have a General Lee Charger? Last I knew he did, but it got damaged in the, well, he had one. I don't know if he just had one, but he had one get damaged during Katrina, I believe, because he lives down there. And as far as I know, he does. He had one with a Hemi in it and all kinds of weird stuff. Left Turn Dodge says, I get the Crown Vic Generals, but I'd rather have one or a new Challenger or Charger. Ooh, that's kind of wild. RP down low. I installed a new fuel tank and sending unit. Grounded the sending unit. Fuel gauge still isn't working. What should I check next? What do you guys say? That'd be the first thing I'd check. Have you checked to make sure you're getting 12 volts down to it? I know it's going to sound stupid. Have you tapped on the tank a few times to see if that thing might be stuck? And another thing too, I'm not pushing your buttons here, but you do have fuel in the tank, right? Nancy Ling with Reynolds. I walked in a California junkyard and saw some General Lees, and I, like others, wasn't interested at the time. Had to go to confession and ask for forgiveness. So you talk about ones from the show? As far as I know, none got out of those junkyards. They were all crushed except for some that Warner's kept and Wayne Wooten bought them. Except for the cars in Georgia. There's only one known surviving from it, and that's Lee number 1. Speaking of General Lee's wonder, what happened to Wayland's? I have no idea. Manic Mechanic says, I feel the same way with my S10 build. Started as swapping from one chassis to another to a full custom build. Cool. Indecisive Garage just got home. Camp is busy this week and weekend. Glad you're here, Tim. Dash ground rusty or corroded. That's a good suggestion there. Yeah. I was serious. I've seen diagnostics run on things crazier than that. Ray says ground the sending unit at the gauge. Ray knows stuff. Mexican Spec wants to make sure we know he's still not interested in General Lee's or any Chargers that generation. Gotcha. I love a 68 Charger. As much as I like the General Lee, I had nothing against it. But if I was going to have a second generation Charger, a 68 Charger, like a dark green or black, like for Bullet, excellent. Barry Cuda said, I heard originally the Dukes were going to use a late 60s Galaxies. I can't remember what the thought was. I think a Chevelle was actually the original car that they had sketched up. Guy Waldron was thinking of using was a Chevelle. The one that had the big old back end on it, like the 68, 69, 70, 71, like that was what he was thinking of. And I think Chargers just cheap and available is what wound up making that decision. Heavens Mopar says, about to put the steering wheel adapter in now, gas tank straps, adapting junkyard fans to fit, having issues finding cheap seat options that fit, figured out the motor and pinion angles. Is that interview still available to see? Yes, it is. It's on my channel. If one of our mods would put up the link to my live with Tom Sarmento. It was in the winter. It was a few years ago. Tom Sarmento. You can probably search it up. Warner Brothers Mechanic and Stuntman's Tom Sarmento. Tony said black on black 68 Charger. Oh, yeah. I think I'd actually go like a really deep green. Or even deep blue. But a 68. Beautiful cars. And yes, I like the vinyl top. I don't need anybody to tell me how it makes them rust. Blah. If I can afford a 68 Charger, I can put it under a roof. That vinyl top looks great. Nancy Lone with Reynolds. I don't know who it was, but one of those show mechanic builders said they could buy 2 winged cars, but did not do the amount of extra work. The price was $500 each. Yeah, but that would have been too weird. I'm glad they did. And as much as I hated those Chargers getting just watered up and ruined, if you think about it, that really put them on the map. Really did. More so than just being another B-body. Rabbit Transit J is here. We've been trying to figure out what's wrong with Mexican Spec for years, Barry Cuda. I haven't driven it. I've actually got that on display in my living room. It's cool. I haven't driven it yet. I need to. In fact, that's what I should do on the trail. Stick it down on the trail. Scare some people on bicycles. It's really cool. I have yet to drive it, though. I won an RC Charger for comment of the night on Gen X Empty Nesters Thursday's live stream. That's a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting to win a thing. It was just fun. And they just happened to say stuff that I just guess had the right comments for. Now, I like showing it off, though. It's pretty cool. I bet I've told 10 people that I've won it. Yeah, it needs to get driven, though. Dancing alone, I'm not a professor of history. I believe that body put him on the map with short shorts. Yeah. Well, there were several things about that show that were different and ahead of their time and made them popular. I tend to agree with this. If not for the Dukes of Hazzard, the Charger would not be any different than another Roadrunner Super B. I would agree with that. I do agree. Levi has 5 Summit gift certificates. Give some money off purchases. Can't use them before I pitch them. Does anyone else here need them? If you need them, hit up Levi. Dust Devil says Super Bs are just big darts. No, okay. I got to say, I love the Super B. When I was a kid, my uncle had a Super B clone. It was a Coronet, I believe somebody made up like a Super B, and sure was cool. I don't think it'll see the light of day till after my lifetime, but sure is cool. Dope as Braden. There's a link to the Sarmiento Live if you want to catch it. It actually is really interesting. I mean, I'm not nearly vain enough to recommend people want to go back and watch any of my lives like this Freewheeling Friday night we're doing here, but ones where I have good guests on who have neat stuff that you watch later, that's definitely one, like Thumpers with Ethanol, this one, ones where we have Vizard and tech stuff. Those are ones that are worth watching later, and that's certainly one of them with Tom Sarmiento. We need to have him back on. I'd love to have him back on. Maybe we'll set that up for the off season. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Hot Rod Guy Garage Russell says, I'll be glad when this 68 Charger leaves my shop again. I know that feeling. Indirect Connection Jason, howdy. And the 68 to 70 Charger would be a classic, without a doubt. But you've got to know that the absolute most popularizing thing about those cars was the Dukes of Hazzard. There's just no question about that. Left turn Dodge, the B-body chassis is far superior to the A-body, though. And yet, tell them about your car. RP Download says there's a guy that lives local with a black-on-black 68 Charger that ordered it from the factory. He's probably about 80 now. Every vehicle he owns is black. Ordered the first SRT Challenger in black. Cool. Wow. Neat car. Huh. Rabbit Transit J thinks of his Dart as a mini Roadrunner, just a smaller version of driving my 68 Satellite. Yeah, the Dart is already all of the size of car. It's made. I mean, I like a smaller car. In fact, I wish Chrysler instead of gone the other way. I wish they had made a little bit smaller car than a Dart. The Chevy 2's a little smaller than the Dart. The Vega's a little smaller than the Dart. Of course, the Pinto is. I like that size of car. I wish they'd done something that size, but a little smaller than the Dart. Dancing Alone with Reynolds says there's a Cornet TA in the building next to my storage. I've only seen it outside one time 7 years ago. The building's filled with cars. Yeah, and then he'll die and they'll get dispersed. My junk will get dispersed when I die, I guess. Kevin's Mopar says, Dylan, I sure could use one of those certificates for the torque converter. So there you go. There you go, Levi. Oh, Manic Mechanic, where were you last week? I just spent 5K with Summit. Well, if you spent 5K with Summit, I'm sure you'll spend more. And you guys, don't forget, if you're registered for the No Name Nationals, you get 10 to 15% off everything in the Edelbrock catalog. And their prices are already comparable with Summit and Jegs. 10 to 15% off everything at edelbrock.com, and we have our own concierge, and there is value in that. Alex is a car guy, and sometimes when things might not show in stock on the website, he's on the inside. He can find out if they really might have something in stock that's not showing yet, or if they're going to get it, or what the deal is. Sometimes you need some tech help. He's the guy, Alex So, ASO at edelbrock.com. We have our own concierge, 10 to 15% off everything in their catalog, and all you have to do to claim that is be registered for the No Name Nationals. Fear cannot be present when the Dougster is in attendance. Howdy, Dougster. Mexican Spec says not only the Dukes of Hazzard, but the rest of the media telling you they're cool. How about they're just really cool freaking cars? I don't need media to tell me that. They have a back window like nothing else. They have body lines like nothing else. They have super cool traditional Mopar drivetrain, and they have that upgraded interior a lot of people like. There's just nothing not to like about them. They're just cool cars. I would think that on an island without any media. Yeah, it's around 300-ish. That's about the number. And then there's Wayne Wooten bought about. He didn't buy them. He cut a deal with Warner Brothers in 1991 after the show was over and got, I think it's like 17. And they went out to each one, went to a member of the registry, the Charger registry. And then, of course, Travis Bell famously resurrected Lee 1. And then Bubba Watson, I believe, sold that car. I don't know who has it now. But Lee 1 went for auction after his restoration for $110,000. He bought it for next to nothing, like $400. But Lee 1 does still exist. Well, I mean, I get it. But you got to realize those cars were being bought. They bought hundreds of them for $500 a piece, just like nothing. So if we say they were always too special to wreck like that, they were able to buy 300 of them for $500 a piece. They did. You know, something nobody talks about is they wrecked way more police cars than Chargers. And those were low mileage, nice, not current model year, but they were only a couple years old. They were getting those from police auction. California Highway Patrol, the real deal Chips cars. Those Monacos and Furies they were using for the cop cars, boy, they destroyed a lot more of those. Those were nice cars, really nice, low mileage, real deal cop cars. A Yugo is smaller too. Yeah, a Yugo is much smaller. I think it's still too small. I think like the Vega size and Chevy 2 hit it about right. I just don't like any of that excess. Really, an A-body Mopar's got a little bit of excess to me. What is a Coronet TA? I think he meant RT and probably misspoke. I think when I saw Coronet TA, my mind saw that as a typo of RT. I could be wrong, but that's how I read it. Mean Street Mopar says, "What's up, everyone?" 80s Challenger size. Yeah, maybe, but see, I don't even recognize those as muscle cars at all. Those are just using the name. That's all that is. I don't even think about those cars. Mid-South Lowballer has one. I haven't seen that dude in forever. We haven't seen him here in forever, but he has one. He's got 2 videos on it. Smart car size? No, way too small. I love the size of the CRV. It's great. It's just great. But I think for a performance type of car, that Chevy 2 is about perfect. I even like the Vega size. I think somewhere Vega Chevy 2 is just right. Valari Roadrunner, that's small. Again, it's probably a fuzz bigger than the A body. It's about the same, pretty close, maybe a little more, and they're heavier. His bud Stan the Man has a 76 with a spicy 340 swapped in. Yeah, they're okay if that's your thing. They're just heavier. They're just more of what they didn't need. I like them gone the other direction, gone a little lighter and smaller. I'm going to say Vegas size was perfect. Yeah, I can't fidget with my Sprag race because it's in the other room, so I'm fidgeting with this sun shell. I'm glad it's plated and not painted. I wouldn't want to scratch it up. Alex So's a great dude. Yeah, he's a good dude. We like Alex. Barry Cuda saw a video of Cuda repainting a hearse black with nothing masked. I completely believe that. Yeah, I think that's all it was. I think they just meant Cornet RT. That's how I read it. I read it as a typo. That's not hard to do. Whoa. I got to tap a little crazy on the comments there. Dizzy wants to see a blown Yugo with big tires. It's probably been done before, actually. Left Turn Dodge says Aspen was a direct replacement for the A-body and heavier. Yes, it was. In fact, they sold both on the lots in '76. You could get a Dart or you could get an Aspen Valari in '76. Could have been a Cricket way smaller. Yeah, that's a little too small, but they're cool. I'm not into the Japanese Mopar stuff. I wish they'd done an American-made version of that. Oh my gosh, man. I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. I mean, I was a little kid when those cars were getting used up. I just think they're cool cars. I mean, okay, I can't be unbiased. There you go. But they're cool cars. I mean, they're objectively cool. They're neat. None of the other B-bodies had the hidden headlights or they had the door markings and stuff. They're just cool. You don't have to like them. I like them. But you see what I have. The only B-body I have is a Roadrunner. And if I was going to pick a B-body to have, if I was going to say I could any B-body out of the sky, it'd be a 69 Super B. I would rather have that before I had a 68 Charger. Yeah, Left Turn Dodge. Thankfully, nobody's told everyone the 71 was way better than the 68 to 70. Well, the 71, again, I know it looked funny, but my gosh, just chop an entire foot off the front of it and throw it away. It's there for nothing. Why in the world does the car need to go into another zip code past the radiator support? The car just has all this empty space, and it's huge for no reason. I can't get into that at all. And I think the A-body's got a bunch of wasted space. And then the B-body's even more. And then the fuselage B-bodies are even more than that. It's crazy. I mean, they look good. I don't have a thing in the world against them. But it's like, man, I just never got that, I guess. Well, at Michigan Spec, if you hate them and you want to just make them cheap, that's fine. That's I'm sure people here will buy them. Dancing Alone with Reynolds said, my friend had a 70 TA Challenger in white. I used to call it a Charger just to boil his blood a bit, keep him on his toes and all. Yeah, I'll tell you what I do. I have people don't like it, but any of that giant rim stuff with trunk base, I just call all of that donk stuff because it is. To me, it's just donk stuff, all of it. Like, oh, no, it's got to be these body styles to be a donk. And somebody says, oh, no, this one isn't. And we think it is. Whatever. To me, all that's just donk stuff. It's got the giant wheels and all that trunk base and stuff. It's whatever. Left turn Dodge, he's driven them. 71's the better car. I tend to believe that. I do tend to believe that. I just, all of them, they just seem like boats to me, but I do believe you're right. Tony's Auto Garage says, my dad had a 74 Monaco retired CHP car. Cool. Yeah, I got to tell you, the one I like of any of those old cop car B bodies or C bodies, my favorite would be a 77 Fury. That's what I like. Stacked headlights like Hunter. Remember the NBC show Hunter, that dark green one he drove? That's it right there. If I was going to have any Malaise era Mopar, that's what it would be. Mexican Spec says, no way. No, whatever. One's a circle track racer, one flips cars. I don't know, but you each have driven them. You each got your opinions. Dancing Along with Reynolds says 71 Vega hatchback GT is the cool car. I don't disagree with that. Dopus Braden says, I mean Star Tyson chicken nuggets and Johnsonville brats. I'm in the state where Johnsonville's made. That's right, you are. Nah, it's cool. Everybody gets to have different opinions. I remember one time one of my firearms trainers, John Farnham, says if two people agree on everything, one of them is unnecessary. I think that is very wise and true. Dope is Braden. There's over 9,000 bars in Wisconsin. You have no idea how not into drinking I am whatsoever. Oh my gosh! Speaking of that, I went to eat with my friend Ben here a couple days ago, and we went to a place called McAdoo's in Bluefield, Virginia. And they have a bar there in the middle, and we see this group of people just drunk, and of course they just left and drove away. We were actually walking out the same time. We passed them walking out, and they were all drunk, driving drunk, of course. And one drunk girl jumps in the bed of this drunk guy's truck. And I thought, wow. I mean, she would already have bad odds of getting there alive riding in the cab with him, much less in the bed. But anyway, I have no interest in any of the alcohol drinking life whatsoever. I thought that was crazy. Tony's Hot Rod Garage says that he wrecked that when he was 10 years old. This day, I cannot find another one for a reasonable price. Yeah, they command some money. Cushman size. That's yeah, whatever. I mean, Danny IT guy says Mustang 2. Yeah, I'm not a huge Mustang 2 fan, but I like the size of that car. I think that's a good size. Dougster says Dukes of Hazzard used Monaco's, Furies, Grand Furies, Cornets, and eventually AMC Matadors. They wrecked the whole mess up. They wrecked all kinds of stuff. Yes, they did. Eventually Matadors is correct. Vega's too narrow, otherwise a good size. Yeah, it depends what you're doing with it. They are fuzz narrow, but I kind of like that. I think I like the look of the car like that. Indirect connection. Jason says there's a Mustang 2 for sale down the road from Jay. I saw it today. Yeah. They're cool with them. Man, those things got rusty, though. A lot of them got claimed by rust. Mustang 2 is all right. It was kind of a weird evolutionary step. The Mustang, I always thought the Mustang got weird looking through the 70s. The 70s was the weird decade for the Mustang. The 69s and the Mustang from all of the 60s and all the 80s. But boy, that 70s decade was weird for those cars. I really liked the 79 Fox body when it came out. Corinthian leather, yes. Oh boy, Dizzy wants to call out Dust Devil Brian. Hey, Dizzy, that guy that hates my guts, so I've never even met or done anything to in my life that you were saying you hope shows up at No Name Nationals, he's never welcome here. I saw where you commented on a video of his that got sent to me. Guy that wrecked a golf cart? No way ever. Never done a thing to that guy. Been on jihad against us for years. Oh, well. Indirect Connection said it was a Pinto Mustang. That's a fair way to call them. I think that's a fair analysis. Dexter says when he was in high school, there was a Pinto wagon with a blown 460 running around. Wow. Said it was impressive and sketchy. I bet people just hack those things to do stuff like that, like cut firewalls out of them and everything else. Mexican Specs in 77 was the first year for the F-body in Mexico, and it took over the Dart name in 76. Yeah, so in the United States, we had it in 76. But there, it got the Dart name in 77. That makes sense. It would seem weird to me, but it makes sense, I guess, in that market. Dan, the IT guy, said the old Fox, everybody's race car. Not so much. Things are getting harder to find. I like the Fox Mustang. I like the Fairmont too. Didn't one of those square Thunderbirds in the early 80s or late 70s, wasn't it built on a Fox chassis? Why are they called a Sunshell? Because of the pinion gears. Because of the pinion gear arrangement. So you have Planet pinions, and then you have a Sunshell. You have a sun gear in the middle that goes here, the sun gear, and then the planetary planets rotate around the sun like they do in our solar system. So we call that a sun shell. There's some trivia no one needed to know. Tony said, in 66, a Charger was launched as a luxury car. Yes, I did. It made some weirdness I never cared for. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. For my personality, I'm more into the stripped down road run. I like the 68 Roadrunner. Absolutely no frills. That's my style. Radio delete and all. Mandated crush zones. Yeah. I guess, but I'll tell you, I just didn't care for it. I don't know how the space itself was when they were making cars smaller. That's when cars were starting to get smaller. Yeah, coolant jugs and spare tools. You can literally sit in that space in front of the radiator support on a Charger like that. Busted Radio Garage, Chris. Howdy. I'm way behind. I need to get caught up. I just noticed the timestamp on that. Huh. Rabbit Transit J, my brother brought a TA just for the engine, put a 318 in it and sold it. Wow. He took a TA engine out of a TA car? Oh, my. Then the IT guy, 78 New Yorker with 30-inch gold rims. I saw a Monte Carlo Aero Coupe with 34-inch rims. I sent that to Lars. If he's in here, he should put that short up. Monte Carlo Aero Coupe with 34s. Cranking out the trunk base. Going down the road with the doors open, no less. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Well, this one I thought was black. So I think you actually saw another one. Dust Devil says, remember, I'm hunting 71 satellite parts. Yeah, that car was too cool. Man, I'm behind on the chat, but there's a lot of people here tonight. Braden, that's why they have the highest amount of DUIs. There's definitely a drinking culture up there. Not my scene. RP Dynalo said my buddy bought a 70s Sebring and now calls it a Roadrunner. Okay. Levi says drinking is for losers. A drink is good if you have 10 beers to be happy or have fun. It makes you a loser. In my eyes, a few beers is okay if you don't drive or do irresponsible stuff. Drinking's got no place in my life. That's just me. You guys do what you want to do. But don't share a road with me if you're drunk, because then it becomes my business. We saw those drunk drivers just driving away drunk. Trashed. Could hardly walk out of there. Just drove away. Came in pretty close on clipping us leaving the parking lot, too. Try stuff in a 360 to Yugo, not fun. Yeah, that's the thing. Doing an engine that big would just, you'd cut them up so much they'd lose all the chassis rigidity. Couldn't possibly use the power. But I guess that's the point. Just excess for the sake of excess. What's the sketchiest thing you've ever eaten? I'll leave that one alone. Indirect connection, Jason said all T-Birds were Fox-based from 80 to 88. Okay. Oh, yeah. But the big square ones. Yeah. The 80 to 82 looked like a fancy Fairmont. I thought it was a lot bigger, too. Dizzy says the best thing about the Vagrant is I bet no one has one like it. No, I would say not. Faith Van Ark. I really don't feel good, so I think I'm getting the flu. Well, I hope not. "34-inch wheels, that's just stupid." I'll give them credit for this. Whoever did the body work on that to open the wheel openings and everything to try to make them fit and sit down on it did a really good job. The car really does look good. I mean, as far as the craftsmanship, I mean, it's ridiculous, but the craftsmanship looks good. Probably an LS swap, but a four-door Fairmont, who cares? I love a four-door Fairmont. I think that's cool. Imagine how much they spend on 34-inch wheels, let alone the tires. I can't imagine what they spend on paint job on this car. Well, I'll tell you, weed has picked up and drinking has gone down. Those two numbers went hand in hand. I don't know exactly why, but they did. I'm behind on the chat, RP Dynalo. Dizzy's going to try to make SSR's Dyno Day on the 29th. Should be fun. Yes, Big James is having Dyno Day. Says on the 29th. So if you want to drop any details, please do. Lunar Outlaw, late to the party. What'd I miss? How's everybody doing? Well, Lunar, check this out. This is the top of the Triple Crown Trophy for our Triple Crown class in 2026. How about that? Happy little accident lightning the sun shell at CRT. So he was nice enough to plate it and send it to us for the Triple Crown. Excess for the sake of excess, like my black tires. Yes, this is America. And if you want to run steamroller tires like that, more power to you. I mean, you know, yeah, they cut up a Monte Carlo Aero coupe for that, but, you know. You're the best YouTuber. I don't know which of the 50 people in here you're talking to, but it can't be me. Probably dope as Braden. JB says, people ask why I'm not posting. Silence is power. Sometimes the ability to be silenced is definitely a power. Dougster said, watched a smash drunk guy attempt to make his 79 Chevelle hang tire in the parking lot, all because he did it at the drag strip on Friday night. Ugh. Calvin Nelson has a 26,000 original mile Fairmont wagon manual transmission. And it's very cool. I've seen it in person a few times. I mean, I'd love to see him bring that to No Name Nationals. That's a cool car. Everything they have is cool. So, I mean, whatever. BRG Chris, thank you for dropping by, buddy. Appreciate you coming in here. Hope to see you here in just 40 days and change. Indirect Connection said the 90s weren't kind to my liver. Levi says, I'm probably the only person who thinks a car on the road with a swapped motor is better than one sitting in a field rotting. LS swap Cody, I don't care as long as it's being used. I'd rather it come back from 10 more years of rot than not be able to come back at all from getting hacked to death. Depends what they do with it, I guess. Main Street Mopar, I thought I might have a drive shaft in my parts stash that would work for my 360 and 518 swap in my D100. I have one that's 1 inch too short and several that are too long. Well, congratulations, and you have one that's unusable and several that need to be shortened. It's the way it works. Stovall said, I hate the dunk cars. They crack wheels and want me to fix them. I make them pay first and sign a waiver. Yeah, they break axles from what I've seen, the performance donk stuff, because they use stock length wheel studs, which is a huge no-no, and they shear wheel studs, and they break axles too just because wheels are so heavy, and they run those stock 10-bolt rears, C-clip axles, and they break them. Gen X Empty Nesters, we're going to stop by at SSR too, Dizzy. Cool. Aero Coupes. Yes, Monte Carlo Aero Coupe. You got to know about that. Yes, it's popular because of the limited NASCAR run. I mean, who cares what people like? I'm glad to see any car become popular, you know, and people want to save them. Here you go. Here's the link to that crazy Monte Carlo. So anybody who wants to click on that and check that out, come back here and give me one word that describes what you see. Dopus Braden says Dodge needs to make a return in Cup Series. I guess. I mean, just be Dodge anyway. I don't know. When they did that last purge of all the remaining automotive DNA from the cars, it just killed it for me. There's not even a single tribute to anything of the old stock car there. I haven't watched a single race since. Yeah. Okay, there's Tony's one word. Unfinished projects, one word is sweetness. Dizzy's going to be running some Edelbrock heads. Wants to see what Dizzy, you going to do some testing? Got 40 days and change. Hopes Braden says NASCAR needs to bring back Dodge instead of Dodge being the only truck in the series. Well, you have the only car is the Camaro-looking body they put on the chassis in Pro Stock and AHRA. I don't know why any of it matters. None of it has anything to do with any production vehicles. Barracuda says, I put as sick as I could possibly fit on the rear of my Valiant 265-15. Yeah, sounds about right. Useless, Lars says. Colleen, that's 2 words. You got to try again with 1. No, not 1 word. Doesn't work. Challenge was 1 word. Scott says the numbers matching 72 CUDA that I got from the woods of New York years ago is physically folding in half. It will be saved. Scott will save cars that get caught in the vacuum filter and put them back together. He said, I got a 71 Satellite 4-door as a donor car for the front frame rail section. My gosh. That car just that would be a good one to be a body donor for a chassis car, maybe. Oh. Dodge should come back with trucks too, but right now everything is a Chevy with different bodies. But isn't it just a fabricated chassis? That's not Chevy, is it? Or just Chevy engine? What is this comment? Is Dodge really in NASCAR? Because Clueless was part of Dodge, but yet the emblem is still, his truck still said Chevy. Is this a word salad? What is this? Chevy, even though the paint scheme was Dodge? I don't even know what that means. Dizzy says Dodge announced last week they're getting back into NASCAR. Okay. Now, I still won't watch, but whatever. Dougster's 1 word is uncool. This is a good question. I like this question. I wish I knew where the 220 Chevy ended up. I'm going from Murray, Kentucky to Linden, New Jersey this week. I'd try to pick it up. I don't have any idea how to get a hold of anybody who would know. Because his brother croaked at the same time he did. I don't know how to get hold of anybody that knows. I mean, just keep an eye out being for sale. That guy's name was Larry, and I don't know where that place was he was keeping the car. That would be the place to go, but I don't know where that was. I'll tell you what you might do. Now that he's gone, I can say he lived at Locor Lakefront Lodging in Hopatcong. Now, he may know. That guy may know. I can't imagine Rich didn't tell his stories to everyone who lived. There might be someone there who knows where Larry is. That'd be how you'd find it. Call up Locor. Call that guy and ask him. He might know. If I was going to hunt that car down, that's where I'd start. I'm not counting it. How about that? Who's this Mexican spot guy? Well, considering we only have 11 minutes left, you can use your imagination. Yes, it is. Tom Sarmento. You can search it up. If one of our mods wants to put the link to it. Yes, it's a live stream I did on a Friday night. You can go search my channel. You can probably search John Wilburn, Tom Sarmento live or something like that, and you'll find it. Colleen's 1 word is redonkulous. All the same crate engines. Okay, I wasn't sure what they were doing. There's nothing stock about NASCAR anymore. Nope. In fact, there's actually, and I don't know if there still is, but there used to be, I don't think anymore. They used to have to run a couple of factory parts in NHRA Pro Stock. Like they would run, some of the last parts left were like a deck lid skin and taillights and headlight lenses. And I think that was all that was stocked. I don't think they even have to do that anymore. Asinine. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. That Larry dude is the only one I can think of, and I don't know. I don't have any idea how one will get a hold of him. I'm trying to think who would know Rich to even ask. I got his phone number, but I'm sure that just turned off by now. And even people who sent him stuff have sent it to where he's lived. I don't have any idea how to. Maybe if that, if you call the Lakefront Lodge, there's that deep voiced chick that used to live next to him in the building. I think she's been over there to Larry's. That's the only way I think you could find it. New Jersey sucks. Yes, I've been one time. I concur. You clearly don't own the Sawzall. I like Sawzalls. I have one Real Deal Milwaukee Sawzall 75th anniversary. And I have a Craftsman reciprocating saw. Would you be paid to take it? I don't know. It's worth. I'm going to put a value on. I'm going to say that 57 Chevy's worth $2,500. I mean, his restoration efforts did not add any value. The one word, insanity. Okay, yeah. Rules are for suckers. Well, that makes one thing makes sense. 220 Chevy needs a less torque version. No, not now. It needed that when he owned it. I didn't want to see the 57 two-door conversion. I wanted to see Rich try to do a 57 two-door conversion. That's what I wanted to see. Jason's word is that. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Okay. My one word was stupid. Yeah, fair enough. Dizzy's word is anti-disestablishmentarianism. Yep. Which was the longest word in the Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I said it was in the dictionary. And then the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious may be in the dictionary too because came into the dictionary because of the Disney movie. So it may be in the dictionary too for that reason. That's not a bad idea. Try some people at the rest home where he ate lunch. Yeah, but I don't think he had the car out to Larry's until after he quit freeloading over there. You know who might know? The Advance Auto. No, Lakeside Tire and Auto. That dude. That was his buddy. That dude. Was it Tom over there? That's the guy to ask. That guy might know where it was. For all I know, he might not even know Rich died. This is Rich's original ad on Facebook. I don't know. Have to be legal notice about his estate. I don't know. His sisters don't speak to him. I don't have a clue. Yeah, well, I've got his phone number, but like I said, it's probably, and it seems like his YouTube page is unmanned, and I'm sure his Facebook and all that is too. And so I don't have any way of knowing. I'm going to guess that Larry guy's probably just going to sell it, and unless he doesn't have the title. I don't know who cleaned out his stuff. I would start with where he lived. I would love to see somebody in the community get that car. Unfinished Project puts up the link to the Tom Sarmento Live right here. Thank you, sir. RP Down Low said subscribe, like, and subscribe. But if you subscribe, then like and subscribe, and you hit the button twice and you unsubscribe. And if you do, that's okay. But I would say most people here are subscribers. I'm just glad you're here. This is the highlight of my Friday every week, right here. Scott says, question about pinion angle. Engine is at -2 rear and about, his engine's 2 degrees down in the rear, which it should be down a little, I believe. Should I lower the rear more when under load to level it, or levels acceptable as is? That's a good Dallas Professor P question. Try the funeral home? Maybe, but see, he was cremated, and that crematory is all the info, and I shared that in my community post. I would try the low-core lakefront lodging there. I can get you a number for that if you want to try, Jason. Barry Cuda said, I could probably fit 295s if I used wide and steel rims, but U.S. Indies hit where they sit. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that. Jason says, I'd measure pinion angle with weight on the wheels. Oh, well, yeah, yeah, of course. If you're measuring it without the weight on the wheels, there's not really even any point. Yeah. Car needs to be sitting on the ground at weight accurately to set pinion angle. A lot of people who have access to a drive on lift like doing it that way for obvious reasons. Ooh. Dust Devil Brian sent me this. Look at that. Lake pipes. Very nice, man. A friend of mine sent me this. I don't know anything about it. He just sent it to me. It's not somebody in our YouTube community here. And he just sent it to me. So I'll share it here. 1970 all-steel Superbird kit. I guess if you just need the parts to make a clone, there you go. Or maybe if they got robbed off your real deal car, or maybe some's aftermarket. I don't even know. I just know my friend Thomas sent me that. So share it with you. Dizzy said, with the old intake the car ran rich, the larger plenum seems much better. Well, shake it down. See how it does in the track, man. That's what's ultimately where it's headed, right? The One-Eyed Cat says, just to brag, I got to see Marty's Hot Rod Garage fire up his Hemi Express wheel stander. Methanol has its own flavor. Shortcoming. Bring earplugs. I bet. The crematory should know who picked up his ashes. There you go. There you go. Country Boy Rides again, a.k.a. Roy Boy, a.k.a. Riding Dirty. Scott, I have read you want the rear to be pointed down 3 degrees compared to the front because the pinion will rotate up under load, assuming you have leaf springs. This is true. Colleen, I'm sure it'll be private information, Mexican Spec says. Yeah, true, but you know what? You can ask and just see if they tell you. If you're looking for something, it doesn't hurt to ask. Evans Mopar Scott said, I wanted pinion angle right before I welded on brackets for motor plate. Tony's Hot Rod Garage says, you have my number. Call me when the car's on the ground. I'll walk you through a baseline setup. Well, there you go, Scott. Tony's an excellent resource for something exactly like that. He's a very good car builder. There you go. Got you hooked up. Jason says, Scott, if you buy it, I'd suggest not having a guy driving a Ford Expedition pulling a U-Haul to deliver it. Yes, Scott had a scummy shipper abscond with parts of his one time. Racer said there should be public notification with the lawyer handling the state for Rich 220. This is true. I think it could be found. I think if you put some work in, it could be found. I'd be glad to help you. Mexican Spec says that would be the way to go. They have lots of rules and regulations you have to comply with. Yes, they do. But guess what? If you ask the question and they just tell you and they break the rules, that's not on you. That's on them. You got what you need. No one turns them in or rats on them. Done. Gosh, man. Didn't you just say that rules are for suckers or something like that? Does anybody know? I don't know any of that. I just know the guy died. That's all I know. And his family was disconnected and doesn't speak. The only one who would have known and would have been exactly the guy to ask is Daniel. And Daniel died 2 days after him. So now there's nothing. It's kind of like, this is kind of like the Rich 220 password has been lost and there's no ability to reset it. And yeah, you can shim it if you have to. Yep, you sure can. 2.3 is good for engine transmission angle. Yep. We're at our time. We still got 40 people in here. I'll hang out a minute. Just a minute and all. Can the stream. Indirect Jason says our cars are typically 3 degrees for the engine, transmission, tail shaft down. Yep. Dizzy says, first No Name Nationals, he cut the blocks for the rear pinion angle at home and put them in the first morning at the drag strip. Yeah. Wow. Dope as Braden asks the question we'll wrap our night on. What's the best diesel car ever made? The best diesel car ever made. If I can say the Volkswagen, those Rabbit pickups, which are made on a Rabbit chassis, I'll say that. If I can't say that, I'm going to say the 1981 Ford Escort. We got some votes for Mercedes in here. Yeah, probably. I just wanted to give something different. I'm sure it's not okay with everybody, but I just did. Left turn Dodge didn't have, there's no words measured, but it fit. Dizzy likes the Volvo turbo diesels. Yeah, see that. I just threw out something different. Those Escorts, of course, they had no power at all, but they got a ton of mileage. I'm talking 50 miles to the gallon for something back then. That's impressive. Yeah, they were good cars. Yeah, Volkswagen Jetta with a 6-speed, 60 plus. If you drove, yeah, I can see that. Good cars. I mean, yeah. I'm not huge into diesel anything, but I don't doubt that they're good. They're good, and they get good mileage, and make good torque, and all of that. Live a long time. A lot to like about them. Just I just don't have a lot of experience with them. Diesel Rabbit was a 50-plus mile per gallon car. Yep, sure was. Dr. Go finally slides in here. Borrowed my coworker's Ford Escort diesel wagon, and he got about 48. Got me to the hospital in time to see my son born when I was 50 miles away at work. What, did you have 1 gallon of gas to get there? Good job. Indirect Connection said the Escort diesel might get 50 miles to the gallon, but it took all day to get 50 miles. And that is exactly right. And with that, we're going to wrap up Word Our Time. That's the comment of the night right there. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to catch Tech Talk Live on Wednesday on the Slant Daily Garage channel. I believe he's off this week, but should be back next. And I should be live here every Friday from here out, as I always am. This Friday, August 21st, we'll be live with Deke Denny, our tech inspector for the No Name Nationals. You want to be here for it. Bring your tech questions. We're going to have Deke on live 1 week from now. Actually, 166 hours from now. And then 2 weeks from tonight, on August 28th, we're going to be live with the Bracket Champions. Just Mopar Joe, Little Possum, and T's Good Time Garage. We'll be live with the Bracket Champions. And then we're going to have more No Name Nationals participant theme lives to be announced all the way up through the event. So you're going to want to check that. But for now, you guys have a fun and safe weekend. Who knows? I may stream some stuff this weekend just at random. You never know, like walking or from Heritage Festival or something like that. But you guys take care. I'm out. Have a great evening.